In this video, I'm going to walk you through the first part of the UK Parliament Post report titled AI and Mental Health Care, Opportunity and Delivery Considerations. But this conversation isn't about hype or fear, it's about understanding, because the reality is AI is already being trialled in mental health services across the UK, and it's now part of national policy, and that means it will, in one way or another, impact the way that you work, the systems that you use, and the expectations that are placed on us as counsellors and psychotherapists. In this video, I'm going to explore who this document is really aimed at and why that matters to us, how AI is already being used in mental health care, the differences between regulated tools and consumer well-being apps, that's an important one, why upskilling in AI is becoming part of our future, and crucially, the ethical questions that we need to be asking, especially around data protection, UK GDPR, and our clients' safety. So here's the document, UK Parliament Post, and this was published end of January 2025. AI and mental health care, opportunity and delivery considerations. Now, when I look at that, it makes me think, who is this actually aimed at? And it feels to me that it be aimed at commissioners of services, whether within the National Health Service or within local community settings. Commissioners might look at this. So let's have a look at the overview. So I've got a summary in my notes here. Mental health care in the UK faces rising demand and workforce capacity issues. That's not going to be news to any of you. AI could support administrative tasks and provide direct support to service users. Yes, great, we're all clapping hands. This is important. Trials and use of AI are ongoing across the UK and internationally. So they're saying this is happening right now. It's not something that's going to come. It's already trialing right now, and with important distinctions between AI tools built for mental health care in the NHS that are subject to standards and regulations. However, consumer products for well-being with less regulatory oversight. And I'm going to highlight that because this is one of the areas of concerns for me. And we see this with international platforms coming into the UK and not operating within the legislation because they don't have to. Yes, they have to meet the law, but as long as in their terms and conditions they're saying how data is captured and where it is being stored, and usually that is outside of the United Kingdom, and that they mention that you're not protected by UK GDPR within that, they're not operating illegally, but they have less oversight, really. Wow, there's a biggie. Look at that, upskilling staff. We may say, I'm not interested in AI. I think it's a sad day when AI starts muscling in or shouldering in on counselling or in talking therapy. But if you look here, upskilling staff means that there is going to be a requirement that we are going to need to learn how to work with these tools. There's going to be training that needs to be done. And one of the sayings that goes around AI is AI won't necessarily take your job. But what might take your job is another practitioner who knows how to use AI to be more efficient within their working. So I think that this means we need to have this open mindset, this learner mindset around AI, not see it as the evil bad thing or the savior of humanity, but to have a really balanced, informed view of how we look at AI and consider what we might do. So CPD on AI is not a bad idea. So this is the background, is the understanding of why we would be looking at this. And they're looking and saying emerging technology, including AI, is a UK-wide policy. So we need to understand that this does not just sit within the NHS, within mental health, or it's actually a government policy. So NHS has various strategies to improve capacity issues, including digitalization. So that's not a bad thing. Suggested to decrease clinical time spent on administration. There's nobody that's going to say that's a bad thing. I want to spend more time on doing assessments or processing data and material. But what happens as soon as These processes are automated. It needs less human hours to be able to do that because it's a machine doing it. Less human hours are needed, less human hours are paid for. That's the way that it works at the end of the day. Suggest a decrease in clinical time spent on administration or to improve access through digitally enabled therapy. That's interesting. Through digitally enabled therapy, that wording, digitally enabled therapy, what does that mean? And I don't know what it means. And I think what's really important as we go through this document, I'm not the expert here. These are just my thoughts. You need to take from this your own thinking and find your own way forward. I'm not here to tell you the answers. I'm only here to raise the questions. So questions for me are, what is digitally enabled therapy? Constraints, of course, IT. Here again, lack of skills. What can we do as counsellors, psychotherapists? We can look at AI and we can learn the basics. We can learn to use tools, learn to see whether they are ethical and in service of our clients, and that's going to stand us in good stead for employment further in the future. Here we go. Artificial intelligence tools and services are part of the broader digitization of healthcare. So this means that this is at government level a priority. It is coming. So there is the descriptions and the terms that we need to learn: artificial intelligence, machine learning, generative AI. This is interesting. I want to just go into this. An AI model which generates text, images, audio, video, or other media in response to user prompts. That's generative AI. And we're going to see later in this document where there is talk about how bots are being used, which are generative AI. I'm going to leave it there for today. That's part one. This is a really comprehensive document. We're going to really deep dive into it. I will be putting up more posts. So if this is of interest to you, like and subscribe. And what that will do is it'll tell the algorithm to give you a ping when the next one goes live. And I look forward to sharing more information about ethical use of AI in counselling and psychotherapy.